So it's time for the news.
So Ed,
This is Citizen Ed of Citizen Star News with This Week in Star Citizen. Second special Friday the 13th edition of this year, where anything that can go wrong will.
Oh,
At
good.
the worst possible time.
Excellent.
I'd like to start out this week talking about our pick for Citizen Star, Phil Zhu from Team IXM, Infinite Shoe Monkey. Design of the Anvil Aerospace Hygeia mobile medical and repair facility. Did you guys see this? It's just incredible.
They're still up to all kinds of stuff, aren't they?
Yeah. I'm not sure if the team is still with them, but the lead guy is still working on the Scimitar. He posted a TNGS, a video of the TNGS ship in the hangar this week that was just beautiful. And we know that CIG is still very interested in getting that in-game. My personal wish is what they would do is decide that's the Corvette. Maybe make it a little bit bigger and call that a day for the Corvette.
Interesting.
But as a gunship, it's pretty cool too. A lot of people complained that it had the lines of a much bigger ship, though.
Yeah, I can see that from my memory. I haven't seen it recently, but
But this Hygeia is just amazing. It's a combined. We'll fix your ship while we fix you. So the odds are, if you're coming back with ship damage, you might be coming back with casualties as well. And
as long as they don't mix up the two.
yeah,
Yeah.
right. Well, you know, the prosthetic limbs and stuff, it might actually work that way.
do they have mechanics on the medical staff or
right.
medical guys on
Yeah,
the
but if they put a Class 2 canard turret on my shoulder, I'm going to be upset.
Let's go back to the Fiendish Feathers clip of a guy with a machine gun for a head.
I was about to mention that. Yeah, that was actually I'm calling that out in the closing of the show. But yeah, a lot of connections there. And this ship has lots of unfolding hangars and places where you can land on it. Very cool. It's an idea that was not proposed at all by CIG. It's just one guy coming up with some stuff, but it's received a lot of attention, and I'm hoping CIG considers it. That's definitely a ship that I would consider owning.
Very cool.
It's capital size too. I mean, it's just not small. So.
Right.
And wanted to call out. There's another Fly Free weekend, South by Southwest. Maybe you guys can post that into the chat since I'm not in the chat right now. But there's a URL and the code, the SXSW Free Fly 2K15, all in caps, is the code for this. And this is a great way to get your friends to try out Star Citizen, because they'll get a full week being able to fly without pledging. And if they start now, they might even be able to play by Monday.
Yeah, it seems like they pretty much do that for every con that they attend.
Yeah, although the Australian one was marred by the fact that they made it only the weekend.
Right.
And since you're in Australia, you know, the people in Australia it takes about the weekend to play, and they had maybe 15 minutes of gameplay time if they.
Plus, you know, they were also attending a convention that weekend.
Right. Yes. So, yeah, I gave them a little bit of hard time for that one. That seemed a little bit of a miscalculation.
Mm-hmm.
So next item up, 75 mil.
Yay!
And there was much rejoicing, yes.
Woo, woo. 100 million, for fuck's sakes, they have enough.
It's kind of funny because every dollar pledged at this point is making a new record. So you could actually celebrate every single pledge.
Let's do that.
It's the most crowd-funded project of all time. Hopefully, it will be the most successful as well. We're still working on it. And to highlight the difficulties, 1.1 is delayed. They were trying to get it out this week, but as we were discussing, they threw in a lot of architectural changes, a lot of changes under the covers, and that caused there to be a lot of things to work out. And the reviews and comments on 1.1 is that it's amazing, but buggy as all hell. So the changes that are going into it are real improvements. It really will be getting us pretty far along towards getting a really playable, balanced Arena Commander. We get more animations. We get the wonderful sort of free-form, free-flight co-op where you can fly around and steal each other's ships and shoot each other on the landing pad and things like that. Leads to a number of very interesting scenarios, and people have gotten some interesting video out of that.
I still say they need to change the numbering system. It just it sounds like a release product. 1.1, that's out then.
Right.
It's a 1 point anything.
It made sort of sense when they were calling it Arena Commander 1.1, because Arena Commander was this in-fiction game, but calling it Star Citizen 1.1, I have to agree that is...
just tack a 0 on the front.
Make it 0.1. Right, or Star Citizen Alpha or something. I prefer the 0.1.1, and it gets even more goofy when the... FPS is supposed to be 1.1.1, and then the social module is 1.1.2, and those are minor, normally what you would consider just bug fix releases. You wouldn't consider those major functionality releases on that. But also, I guess maybe just driving home that these are just stupid abstract numbers and people shouldn't be...
It's a very semantic argument. It doesn't really matter.
People like me, who's a software engineer for many, many years, we do cringe when we see these. And I bet it's going to cause a lot of confusion, and people looking at this for the first time are going to be pretty confused. So, I agree. Absolutely, unreservedly agree. And I hate daylight savings times, too.
Just
Pet
do
peeves.
away with all numbers. Just go to a numberless society.
You have to be consistent about our abstractions. So this last week, PAX East was a big deal. I got to give kudos to Bad News Baron for his bootleg stream and
his magnificent beard.
Yes. And Gamers Nexus for their excellent coverage. I don't know if you guys saw their articles and videos this week.
I've been told several times that I should watch the Chris interview with them because he goes into detail about stuff, but I haven't watched it yet.
It's primarily about what he's calling the zone system, and it's how we're going to be doing our instancing. And there was some interesting stuff this week about the zone system in the interview on Around the Verse as well. This idea that we were going to be geographically subdividing up areas might not be the way they go. And then the other problem with that is everybody rushes to the action. So this combat instance theory that it'll just get subdivided out until it all works, they've been having some problems with. So they're going to have to figure it out. Right now is right at the time when they're starting to get into that level of things. So
yeah,
it'll be very, very interesting. And that's the Austin team over there that's working on that.
Hopefully they'll come up with a solution that'll, I would say please everybody, but you can't do that.
Well, you'll see the beginnings of it happen in the social module, which is going to be demonstrated next weekend, this weekend, really, at South by Southwest. And because we're going to start to be able to visit each other's hangar, they're going to start to be able to, or go wander around in space and have shared spaces. I'm still not sure how much of this we're going to get at first, but that's definitely where they want to go.
Well, they are coming out with the. There's a dog on camera. There was for a moment. Or is that a cat? I can't. I'm sorry. I'm distracted. Rico's distracting me.
It's a cat.
It's a cat. They're having the multiplayer free flight, where you can land on things and check out each other's ships.
It's still just all co-op, and I think to a certain extent it's all going to be co-op for a while.
Yeah.
It's when they're gonna try to get beyond that fairly soon, so that instead of like an invitation and there's maybe 8 or 16 people that you can have in an area, they want to be able to start having you be able to wander around and wander into other people's spaces fairly arbitrarily, and that's when it's going to start being really interesting how they do this.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're a back-end geek like me, checking out the interview on Around the Verse is a really good idea.
Oh yeah, I didn't understand much of that. I did listen to it, but
and
it was a little beyond me.
The comments that he has pretty deep discussions. Blanking on the guy's name, I didn't write it down in my notes, but the director of game operations this week. He has some pretty detailed discussions on the forums, which I found very enlightening. But we won't get into here. So how about that Star Marine? What do you guys think?
I like the art. It's very, of course, intentionally very Doom.
And a little bit of Ender's Game.
Yes. Oh yeah.
They're starting to show some. There was a comment in Reverse the Verse this week about legally distinct from Ender's Game. I think the gravity beam or whatever they're calling the tractor beam gun things is going to end up with very different gameplay from what you saw in Ender's Game. That's going to be very interesting to see. There's been very few times when anybody's trying to do FPS 0G. Happened a couple times, but it's
it happened in the Crisis series, which is good because it's the same engine.
Right. Okay, so social module and Art Corp to be showed off this week. Looking forward to that. There was a big story this week also about how big the Star Citizen client might end up being. It was interpolated out to being maybe as much as 100 gigabits, maybe even larger. James made a comment in this week's RTV that he thinks that was out of context, but we can guarantee that it's going to be pushing the limits because this is a Chris Roberts game.
Gigabits or gigabytes?
Gigabytes, I'm pretty sure.
Gigabytes, yeah.
Okay, you said bits. That's what threw me off.
I'm a networking guy, so
it's okay. I understand. I just wanted to make sure.
I think in bits. Sorry. Okay, so I mean, do you guys remember? I forget which. If you look back at the Wing Commander series, often there were like 10 discs or something that they shipped with. It was ridiculous. He's always pushing the limits, so we're going to get that. We are seeing places where they are optimizing things. The new damage system is definitely an area where they've been trying to spend some effort to make things a little more sane. They were talking about that earlier this week in the News Around the Verse, the Spectrum bit that Travis was talking about, how it was saving them a significant amount of space on the Gladius, and they're going to go around and do that for the rest of the things, the rest of the ships.
Yeah, it was a fairly dramatic change, like 100 megabytes of video memory down to like 14.
Yeah, it's incredible. Just the thought of how much modeling has to be done, and storing objects is one of the biggest things here, in delivering the content and rendering it, which has to be scared. I mean, most of these games are maybe a city. The Far Cry is like an island, right?
Mm-hmm.
How many worlds are we shipping with? 140 some, systems, and we're going to be, obviously they're not fully detailed out, but they want a lot of distinct styles and things like that. And that's.
I'll be curious to see how much actual. Like if you add up all the land mass from the different, areas that you can physically traverse on the planets, like how much that would compare to, say, the map of something like GTA or Just Cause, or just to see what the actual space is going to be.
I mean, compared to like the land mass or the surface area of a planet, it'll be tiny, but compared to most games, it's going to be huge. In other news, the Star Citizen branded HOTAS is illegal. They've got it almost nailed down. They should be able to tell us soon. My bet is that it's not going to be one of the standard HOTAS manufacturers that we're expecting. Probably going to be that Russian crew that does the Black Mamba, is it? But that's my bet. It's a small company that has the experience, but is also willing to do some custom work. Whereas the bigger ones all wanted to just slap a Star Citizen logo on their existing stuff.
Yeah.
You guys caught the Inside CIG featuring Pedro Camacho?
No, not yet.
Oh, yes.
I'm going to have to. Is it good, Trendane?
Of course it is.
It's Pedro.
Yes, it's Pedro. I swear I've seen most of that before, but it's still great to see, and always great to hear what Pedro's doing, his ideas, and just the fantastic work that he's doing. So definitely worth, I think it's only a 5-minute segment, so definitely worth the 5 minutes.
I was really surprised with some of the things that he was talking about towards the end of the video.
Yeah, I think that's new stuff in the end.
Yeah. Like, whoa, what the hell?
It sounds like a recipe for disaster to me.
It kind of does, but I'm trying to trust. But
if you do it selectively, and we haven't, do you want to talk about what he had to say? What he was going to do?
The big one that I remember him specifically talking. Well, no, there were two kind of big pieces that he talked about. One was how doing what he's done for Star Citizen, he's kind of stretched out into different genres and types of music that he never thought he'd ever really compose for, and like how radically different the different commercials are. And one of the things that he said was the music for the racing was kind of like an electronic dance music sort of thing, and what they wanted to do was create and release to the public a bit or snippet of the song or the whole track, and let a professional DJ remix them, or a bunch of DJs remix it into a new EDM tune that fits with the racing thing, and then kind of have a competition and choose the best one, and then put that track into the game, which is cool but a little scary
and dangerous.
And then the other one was that he mentioned that some of the music has choral aspects. There are choirs in the background singing, and what he wanted to do was have not necessarily a professional choir, but have the various people who have been backing Star Citizen and their families and their kids and everything, have all of us, and I mean us, sing this big choral piece. And then I'm like, no. I'm like, oh God.
Yeah, that's I pity the guy that has to go through and decide, okay, that one works, that one, oh my God, that's terrible.
The howler.
I love.
Yes, I was thinking screeching howler monkey might come to mind.
It would have to be auto-tuned to the point of unrecognizability.
Yes, auto-tuning might be a severely useful tool.
You can't tune the monkey.
Because you got to get a harmony for those things. If anybody's off, it's terrible.
Yeah, that sounds ambitious. I'll say that.
But he could do that.
He could. I mean, and it is representative of the community to do something like that. But that would be a lot of data. A lot of voices to have to go through. And of course there are going to be some people, some men just want to watch the world burn, who intentionally send in stuff that is so horrible with the intention.
There's one of those talking in chat right now. I'm not going to say who, but
Okay, so, go ahead, Ed.
Yeah. So yeah, I felt the same way. I was like, oh my God, that sounds very challenging. There's a special request from CIG that I wanted to highlight. The banner from PAX East disappeared. They're asking if
Not
anybody
disappeared. Was stolen.
Someone took it.
Well, what they're saying now is if anyone found it, finger quotes, please deliver to their South by Southwest booth. No questions asked. They just want it back. Please. Please.
So if you're in Boston and you took it, come to Austin and give it to us.
It's practically the same time.
Yeah. So, yeah. Well, or if you know somebody that's going, but might be a little too late. But if it happened to be taken by any large orgs, then maybe that org would have the resources to get it there.
Thanks, Nick, for sending everyone to watch that. That's great.
Ass. What an idiot.
I watched our viewer count just drop by 5. Not kidding.
I know. It's okay.
Where did he send everybody?
To watch the South by Southwest stream.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks. All right. Anyway, how are we doing on time? We're running there.
5 minutes.
You have 5 minutes until we shoot you.
Okay. One of the big things that everybody's really excited about is the fact that it looks like you will be able to turn ESP off. ESP is the thing that tries to figure out what you're trying to do and kind of does it for you. It actually adjusts the sensitivity of the stick, but it's been pissing off mouse users to no end. So,
yeah,
they're going to be actually letting you turn that off. It was spotted in the Bug Smashers video this week, and in RTV they actually confirmed that was going to be a thing where you can actually turn that off, just like ComStab and the other thing. I'll definitely be dedicating a toggle switch on my X55 to that and see how that affects things. Hull series, what Travis likes to call Hullapalooza, is coming. They're nearly complete with the Hull C, and they'll extrapolate that to the other hulls from there. So I'm not sure how many of the hulls. Exactly. Yeah, at least through the D. The E is supposed to be absolutely frickin' humongous. So
I can't wait to see exactly how big the Hull C is going to be.
Yep. Yeah, and that's going to be the one that is capable of being the smuggler ship with lots of extra little nooks and crannies.
Might have to find my way into one of those.
Herald news. There's a lot of interest in the Herald this week. Apparently, it was bumped up on request from Foundry 42, who decided they wanted it for the story, and it's no longer asymmetrical. So you guys that like the one funky wing or crying.
I'm a funky wing fan. I'm sad. Maybe there'll be a alt version that has a wing. I don't know.
It sounds like they're not going to do that.
Boo.
Yeah, I liked some of the more asymmetrical ones that weren't wing oriented that popped up on Reddit. So I'm actually a fan of asymmetry as long as it makes sense and balances fairly well. Because the physics part really needs a decent balance. It can be asymmetrical, but it has to balance well. Which is Van Duel, I guess, are having a hard time with that these days. Except for the glaive. The glaive is nicely asymmetrical. We saw a video this week of the glaive being hijacked, which was hilarious. Came out of that bug that we saw in ATV where the AI basically shut itself down. Idris keeps on growing. They have to stop giving it steroids. I am just astonished that it's getting even bigger. I hear rumors that it might be fitting a Redeemer, and I don't know. I don't know what to say about it.
Wait, fit like as in it can hold a Redeemer?
Yeah.
What?
No, Retaliator. Didn't you mean a Retaliator?
No, Redeemer. The gunship.
Okay, yeah.
That's big, though.
Yeah.
It's kind of big, yeah.
Wow.
It's shorter than a Retaliator, but a little taller. So if it can do that, and actually, based on the size, it might be able to do that and a few Hornets. That's a lot of firepower from the ships, but it's actually not gaining. It has never gained any firepower for the gun, so it just keeps being a bigger and bigger target. Is of concern to me. And the final item that I wanted to highlight was the Stanton Shake. Fiendish Feather's new video, which is based on the Harlem Shake. And I actually watched him put this together. It was kind of a hilarious video by committee where they were kind of just saying, hey, it'd be funny if we did this and this and this.
I'm going to play it right now.
Yep, okay.
Con los terroristas.
The Harlem Shake.
Con los terroristas.
There we go. That was funny.
It is hilarious. So that's it for Citizen Star News this week in Star Citizen. Check us out at citizenstarnews.com and watch us try to keep up with all the news. And please do check out the Twitter, CZENSTAR. We catch a lot of the news. We keep right on top of things on Twitter.